Democratic candidate Zohra Mamdani has been elected to be New York's next mayor. The 34-year-old defeated independent candidate and former New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. Mamdani will be the city's first Muslim mayor after overcoming long odds against the favoured Cuomo in the Democratic primary race this summer. Well, Kristen Salumi is live for us at Zohra Mamdani's headquarters in New York. So a historic vote in many ways, Kristen. Tell us more.
Well, this is a stunning victory in just the last few minutes. The race has been called for Zohra Mamdani, who started as a relatively unknown junior lawmaker, state lawmaker here in New York, who met voters on the street, literally walking from one end of New York to the other to engage voters. And it was a strategy that clearly seems to have worked. He had a platform that went against all conventional wisdom of what would work here in New York, a democratic socialist calling for raising taxes on the rich, someone who has been critical of Israel and a staunch supporter of Palestinian rights. He still managed to energize voters, especially young voters, and we're seeing a lot of them here at his headquarters tonight. When the news came out that Mamdani was winning the race, they broke out into cheers, waving flags and signs and dancing behind me on the floor here. All of this happened despite warnings from Mamdani's competitors that he would drive away wealthy business owners in the city, wealthy taxpayers that the city relies on, warnings that he would not be able to stand up to Donald Trump, that Donald Trump would come after the city. Indeed, we saw Donald Trump support the independent candidate in this race and say he'd withhold funding from New York, his hometown. But voters came out in record numbers for early voting, and the turnout overall for the election looks to be the highest in recent years, in more than 30 years. Clearly a very energized and engaged electorate, and a signal, I think, of a changing generation, a new generation of voters coming to the fore and making their voices heard.
Right, and, you know, you certainly can hear their voices behind you, though. It seems quite noisy. But what does his win say, Kristen, about the state of affairs if you're a New York resident these days, and perhaps the challenges ahead for Mamdani?
For sure, a lot of the proposals that he has put forth, things like freezing the rent or universal free child care, free bus services, are things that he will need state officials to back him up on. So nothing is guaranteed in his agenda for going forward. It is a difficult path that he's chosen for himself. But speaking to voters today, one man that I interviewed said even if he gets 10% of what he is proposing, that will be a big improvement for New York, where the cost of living is extremely high. It's one of the most expensive cities in the country. And so his talk about making the city more affordable really resonated with voters. And now it's on him to try to make those promises a reality. But as I said, he will need support from state lawmakers and the governor, and who has been a bit on the fence. She has backed him, she endorsed him, but said she did not agree with all of his policies. The way that he goes forward will signal what is in store for Democrats in the midterm elections next year.
Right, so thank you very much, Kristen Salumi there on Zohra Mamdani winning that election, and from his headquarters where it seems like voters are in their element.